on that, we are going to concentrate on greenhouse gases, which I've mentioned earlier, which is the carbon dioxide, the CO2. That's the chemical formula of carbon dioxide. So as the name implies, carbon dioxide by definition is a colorless gas having a faint sharp odor and a sour taste. It is one of the most important greenhouse gases linked to global warming, but it is minor component on Earth's atmosphere, about 3 volumes in 10,000 formed in combustion of carbon-containing materials. Some sources in which carbon dioxide is being formed is through the process of fermentation and respiration in animals. And the green plant uses carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis of carbohydrates. So carbon dioxide is formed not only through the fossil fuel, not through only the hydrocarbon, is formed through the other processes, other sources. So the presence of this gas in the atmosphere keep some of the radiant energy received by the Earth from being returned back to the space. So what I mean, the energy received from the sun is being trapped by carbon dioxide, and it is being emitted to the earth, and when by heat it returns back to the atmosphere, and it redirects it back to the earth. So carbon dioxide redirects the energy received. What I mean by infrared that is being received by carbon dioxide from the surface of the earth is being redirected back to the surface of the air like a cyclic movement. It does not retain it in the atmosphere. Majorly, it returns it back, the energy, the infrared radiation that it received from the atmosphere by carbon dioxide is being radiated back to the atmosphere, thereby causing global warming. So the energy, as I earlier said, either the infrared radiation or the radiant energy received by the earth from being returned to space, it doesn't allow it from being returned back to space. It returns it back to the atmosphere, to the earth's surface, thereby causing global warming. I'm emphasizing this so that we understand what we mean by global warming. I'll repeat it again and again and again. I said carbon dioxide, when the energy, the infrared radiation hits the surface of the earth, penetrates into the surface of the earth, and is being returned back to the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide absorbs this energy, the radiant energy, the infrared, the sun energy, the sunlight, that the ultraviolet rays of the light, it received it and equally returned back this radiant energy back to the surface of the earth. That is why carbon dioxide is regarded as one of the greenhouse gases. It absorbs the greenhouse, the radiant energy, the infrared radiation, and instead of allowing it to return back to the space, the carbon dioxide acts as a shield and absorbs this radiant energy and equally redirect it back. Instead of absorbing it and keeping it, redirect it back to the surface of the earth, whereby the earth now, the temperature of the earth increases as a result of this re-radiating of the radiant energy, radiating it back to the surface of the earth, thereby increasing the atmospheric temperature. When the atmospheric temperature is increased, when there is warm atmospheric temperature based on temperature variation, it will lead to global warming. It will lead to climatic changes. So based on that, we classify carbon dioxide as one of the greenhouse gases. The presence, as I've earlier mentioned, the presence of this gas in the atmosphere keeps some of the radiant energy received by the earth from being returned to space, thus producing greenhouse effect. The effect of greenhouse, because of the carbon dioxide does not allow the radiant energy to return back to the space where it was coming from. It retain it and re-emit it back to the surface of the earth, and it constitutes what is called the greenhouse effect. So I have said it over and over to understand, because this is the summary of what I'm trying to explain. So industrially, it is recovered for various device application. Carbon dioxide is equally used for various device application, as I've earlier said. So from flue gases as a byproduct of preparation of hydrocarbon, hydrogen for synthesis of ammonia. So from lignins, and from other sources. So there are other sources in which carbon dioxide is being emitted into the atmosphere. So basically, carbon dioxide from the apart from the fossil fuel, which reduces the highest amount of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, the agriculture, the deforestation in agriculture, the clearing of the forest for human use, which is caused by human activities. Some of these, in fact, the summary, greenhouse gases, the activities of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is caused by human factors, by human activities. That is just the truth. If you look at it, the fossil fuel, the hydrocarbon exploration, the fossil fuel, what we call the fractional distillation of fossil fuel. This crude oil is a mixture. The crude oil is a mixture. During the process of separation by heating, by temperature variation, gases are being emitted into the atmosphere, which carbon dioxide is one of the gases, like methane, propane, mention them, even H2S, all the gases that are being emitted, nitrogen, mention a whole lot of gases being emitted into the atmosphere as a result of fractional distillation. So apart from fossil fuel that emit the highest volume of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, deforestation is equally the second largest emission of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. It emits a very high volume of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere through the agriculture, through the process of deforestation. That's the clearing of the forest for either for commercial uses, for animal husbandry, for urbanization, for one reason or the other. There is a continuous process of deforestation for urbanization and for other economic purposes, which human beings equally benefit. So this process equally affects the atmosphere as a result of emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So as I've rightly pointed, there are other sources in which carbon dioxide is being emitted into the atmosphere. One of the sources is by coal. As I've told you, petroleum products is not the only hydrocarbon products we have. Petroleum product is not only the byproduct of hydrocarbon products. It's not even only the hydrocarbon products we have. We have coal, we have the natural gas. These are the three types of hydrocarbon. You see, so from the petroleum product, they did a lot of survey or experiment or scientific experiment. So below, they found out some volume of carbon being emitted into atmosphere. You see, if you look at the emitted from the products of carbon, which they have discovered about 293.1 kilowatts, which is equal to a million British thermal units of energy from various hydrocarbon fuels. They discovered that in coal, the anthracite coal is emits about 104 grams of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Bituminous coal emits about 93.5 grams of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Lignite coal emits about 97.9 kilograms of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Equally, subterraneous coal equally emits about 97.4 kilograms of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Yeah, even petroleum products equally emit very high kilogram of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Like the diesel emit about 73.2 kilogram of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Emits gasoline emits about 71.5 kilogram of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Propane equally emits about 63.2 kilogram of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Even natural gas, which is one of the products of hydrocarbon, emits about 53.2 grams of kilograms of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So a whole lot of substances emit carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is not only the substances that are being emitted to the atmosphere as a result of fractional distillation, but we are concentrating on the greenhouse gases. That's why I'm specifically discussing carbon dioxide. There are other substances that have been emitted during the process of fractional distillation of hydrocarbon, of crude oil, in the industry. The nitrogen is being emitted, and nitrogen is a very hazardous gas in the atmosphere, very hazardous, and oxygen is being emitted. Mentioned them. Hydrogen is being emitted, a whole lot of substances. Even during this separation, H2S is being emitted, hydrogen sulfide is being emitted into the atmosphere. H2S is very harmful to human existence. Even during the exploration, during flaring of gas in the oil industry, H2S is so present that that we equally wear dawn masks to ensure that we are not harmfully affected by this corrosive substance called H2S. So H2S is equally emitted into the atmosphere, and a whole lot of like methane, butane, propane, all the substances, a whole lot of organic substances are being emitted. So natural gases are being emitted into the atmosphere as a result of fractional distillation, as a result of flaring of gas in the oil industry, as a result of what they say, quick on-site analysis of this hydrocarbon. You see substances have been oxygen, carbon dioxide, H2S, mention them, propane, butane, a whole lot of gases that have been emitted into the atmosphere that cause harm to human existence and pollute the atmosphere and cause harm to the environment, cause harm to other living organisms that benefit from the earth. So when the atmosphere is polluted, it causes respiratory problems. Human beings, not only human beings, other organisms that aerobic organisms that depend on the oxygen. All these organisms are being affected because of the pollution of the atmosphere. Some of the organisms that depend on the hydrocarbon equally, like the plants, the hydrocarbon is being that depends on the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is being converted equally, polluted with carbon monoxide, which is harmful to living organisms, and respiratory problems to human beings, respiratory problems to other living organisms that benefit from the oxygen, because oxygen is being polluted in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is being burnt and converted into carbon monoxide through the fossil, through the diesel usage as a result of byproduct of carbon dioxide, byproduct of hydrocarbon, like the diesel, the gasoline used by vehicles, diesel used by vehicles and engines. When the diesel reacts with the engine mechanically, you see there is a conversion process. Carbon monoxide is released, sulfur is released. All these substances will react in the atmosphere. They react and form sulfuric acid, nitric acid, nitrogen will react with oxygen and it will form nitric acid and all that in the atmosphere. Hydrogen and other substances that are in the atmosphere that constitute harm to human existence, but we are talking about the